What's up? Welcome back to State of My Art podcast with me, your host, Mike Liorti. Thank you for joining me. On episode 38, I hang out here at the Sharp School of Music and Studio with my good friends from Corona, Riverside, Southern California, Where It Lies. Where It Lies is an incredible alternative hard rock band. If you're a fan of Breaking Benjamin, Disturbed, you will like this band. Where It Lies just put out their new single, Say the Word. It came out July 30th, right after we shot this podcast. So you can check out that song, Say the Word. It's on the State of My Art podcast playlist on Spotify and YouTube Music. So download it, check it out, share it with some friends. Let's jump right into it. This was a really fun episode and very deep. My conversation with Where It Lies happened here at the Sharp School of Music and Studio on July 25th, 2021. We're really doing it. We're here at the Sharp School of Music and Studio with Where It Lies.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
My boys from Corona, right?
Yep.
Well, technically, I'm the only one in Riverside.
Riverside? Okay. I thought Corona was in Riverside.
No,
it's like the city over. Yeah.
Okay. Riverside County, though, right?
Riverside County.
Gotcha. Okay. Sweet. Well, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
Anthony, Tim, Mike, Jackie.
Yeah.
Tim, I've known you for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You used to come out to all the shows in Orange County.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Back in the Rosedale days, man.
I still have your drum takes of Sustain, Gray. I still just have them sitting in a folder, and every once in a while I'm like, let's listen to Tim's drum takes again.
I've got a little bit better since then.
Nice.
A few years ago.
Well, I mean, you nailed those parts, and
oh, thanks, man.
I was sad that I couldn't come down and get you involved. I just kind of went a different. I started making a video of myself playing, and
it
worked out.
I've always said in a different life, or whatever, different circumstances, I for sure would have been up there with you. I was just tied down with school, everything. I was in college,
See, the thing about my boy here, he's an adult. He's like the most adult one out of all of us.
He's the adult in the band?
He's got the good credit score, the nice fast savings account,
Yeah. I believe that. Good for you.
Got the career going.
Yeah. And then this guy is the other responsible guy. He's going to school. He's about to graduate.
And
with his master's.
Don't you guys have a fourth member too? Or is it just you three?
Well,
not anymore?
Do we want to get into it?
We're going to get into it. Let's get into it.
Right here.
So it's going to get a little controversial, and I think the fans deserve to know.
Yeah.
The bass player that we had was also my fiance. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. It was a weird transition for us, but ultimately, not only just for myself, my life, but I think ultimately for the band's career too. It was, I think, for the best to just, move forward in a separate direction. And, there's no animosity towards her or anything. The love's still there. We still wish her the best.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She was very, very talented. It's just, unfortunately, her life and her priorities were a lot different than ours.
Yeah.
I had to make the tough decision, and the guys knew that it was man, what happens if you guys end up, we lose a bass player. I'm very aware of that.
That's what's tough about it.
And a girl to hang out with, because that's hard to come by for me.
Right. Well, you got to start learning bass now.
That's what we I mean, people whenever people come out to her at the show or whatever, it's always some old guy. He's like, "Oh yeah, you were in that last band, right?"
Totally. Probably ends up buying a shirt because of it too. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy a shirt."
But we tell everybody Jackie is now she's the fourth band member, because we're still currently looking for a bassist. We have our friend Ray. He's great. He's a talented bassist, and he's been helping us out.
Oh, cool.
He also has his side projects that he's doing, but when we asked for a favor from him, he was real quick to respond, and he's such a professional that...
Oh, dude, that dude is so talented.
So easy, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Extremely strong player.
Yeah.
That's great that you got a friend to fill in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'd like to, if things were to keep going good, we'd love to make him a permanent member, but, he's got a busy life as well, and he lives all the way in West Covina, which is about a 40-minute drive with no traffic.
Yeah.
And since we practice in Riverside, it's been tough for him to get out here, but he's so talented that when he comes in, he's already ready. He knows the parts. He's
It's all stuff you have recorded that he can practice to, right?
Exactly.
So that's handy.
So it makes it easy.
Yeah, and no, he kills it, man. He's wonderful, and but yeah, right now we're still kind of in the search of a more permanent role for a bassist, but we'll see.
I saw your stream, and I want to say January. You guys were doing streams on your...
with the Sound Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, we did a live stream.
Yeah.
That was tons of fun.
What was that company called?
It's called the Sound Phoenix.
The Sound Phoenix.
Yeah, it was. It's a live stream that I'm pulling a blank on the girl's name, but it's her and this guy named Sean. They run a kind of like a virtual music venue on Twitch, and they'll have people from all over come in. Apparently, we had like a good turnout.
I think there was like 100 viewers.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people tuning in when I was on, and you guys.
Thanks for tuning in.
Was that in a location in Riverside, or was that your practice space and they hosted?
That was over at our little practice spot.
So you guys arranged all the mixing on your PA and sent them just like a stereo mix and a video.
Yeah, we pretty much just sent them what we run through our ears.
Okay.
It's through our the iRig, right?
Through our mixer, just plugged it into our phone.
Oh yeah, the iRig plugs into the iPhone, and then you just
that was
stream from there.
Stream from there, exactly.
That's awesome.
It was from a Google. It was a Zoom call. Yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Okay. Did you guys get a lot of new fans out of that? That were like, hey, we saw you from this.
I mean, like
It's kind of hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
Couldn't really see. We didn't have anyone like on the actual Twitch stream. It probably would have been a smart thing to do. To kind of have some. Hey, can you tune in
Just to watch? Yeah.
Actually, no, we did. Actually, yeah. Mel was there
because they're hosting it, right? So some of them's got to be from their fans who have no idea who you guys are, right?
Sean's from Texas. So they may. So if he's from Texas, I'd imagine they'd have people out in that area too. So it's possible we got a couple people from a little all over. As a matter of fact, I feel like a couple of them mentioned like different time zones and whatnot. So I think
that is true.
Yeah.
I know one of my buddies was he's from Quebec, and he was on that live stream, and I think he had some of his friends.
Fellow Canadian?
Is
he in Montreal or just outside?
I'm not sure, but
probably
I know,
everyone in Quebec's in Montreal pretty much. I'm gonna get some hate for that, but I love Montreal. That's my favorite Canadian city for sure.
He's always talking about how much he loves Putin.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Putin. I was like, all right,
animals.
For a second, I thought you were talking about the Russian dictator, but you mean Putin.
Not Vlad.
No, Vlad. You mean the fries with gravy and cheese? Just to clarify. That's how like we say it, but they say Putin.
Yeah, exactly.
I keep hearing the different.
It's been so long.
Mike had a long drive here.
No, I'm just going through a dry spell.
Right. Dude, you know what? Back to that. A lot of relationships ended over this pandemic, just because a lot of
not be able to see each other. And
there was a little bit because of that, and a little bit of like you're socially distant from yourself and the world, I guess.
Yeah.
So I just went through a pretty gnarly breakup after 2.5 years.
Sorry to hear that.
Technically 3 years. Yeah, man, it was like a rough couple weeks, and I had to like force a smile on this thing, but I'm finally realizing it's for the better, and even though I'm like completely blocked on everything, it's like we're in this generation now where it's like social media is so controlling of our emotions and feelings and addictions, and as soon as you are attached to someone, it's like you almost need to like kill that person off, or you could do what you did and still be friends, but which is what the method I prefer to go.
Anymore, to be honest, I'm deleted from all her stuff, and
that's what I mean.
But
it's kind of what you need.
It's kind of like that's now what dating in this generation, in this time of the world, has become, man.
It's messed up.
There's a country song called "Breaking Up." Was easier in the 90s.
Yeah. I bet breaking up was easy in the 90s. I love that song.
It's true. It's very true. Because if you're still friends with them on Facebook or Instagram, you could easily be going like through your gram or whatever, and then a picture pops up and you see them hanging out with friends
another guy
or another guy, and it just throws you back from any kind of fucking progress you might have made. I was just telling them yesterday how something happened to me. Should I get into that?
Fuck it, we got an hour.
That's all your call.
That's the
This is what people want to hear. They don't want to hear about how we track drums and all that shit.
They want the
People want the dirt.
What's the tea?
This is one of the songs, and this is how songs end up being made. I won't say names or anything like that, but I just happened to be at a practice with some friends of ours, and a friend of mine gave me his phone to, videotape one of their songs.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
as I'm recording, my ex either replied or liked or something to one of the messages that either he or she sent. I don't know, but clearly they're talking.
She's in his DMs.
And so,
Fun feeling.
I had to be an adult about it and be like, well, listen, like, she's free to talk to whoever she wants, and, vice versa, and we're all adults here, and, the dude's a homie, and I'm not gonna, or sabotage a friendship over something that, is probably very just innocent, but did it hurt? Yes.
Right.
But I just kind of had to just, like you said, put on a smile and just continue with just, it is what it is.
Yeah, the best
Cry
thing.
when you get home.
Well, not only that, but like the best thing you can do is realize that it's their loss and you are gonna grow from it and be a better person. And that's what I'm realizing now, and like it's getting me through it.
Yeah.
And like I'm meeting plenty of great new girls because of that mindset too. So that's all it takes,
Yeah.
You just gotta get up, and like I'm a guy who doesn't like to give up on anything. Ex bandmate, ex girlfriend. I'm like, no, I don't give up on things. That's why I've been playing music. That's why we're still freaking musicians. We don't give up. Everyone else gave up, right? So it's tough for me to be like, you know what, it's time to move on and just like have some respect for myself. But I'm even doing that with Rosedale. It's like, this has been my baby for 15, 16 years. And I just have to, change the name. I still want to do what I do, but it's so much harder to make decisions now because there's like the same sort of insecurities of like, oh man, but that was so good when I was touring, and I still have so many people attached to that, for instance. That it's tough for me to like make decisions like, all right, I'm just going to go with this name and hope everyone's cool with it. But I got to realize I can't please everyone. Relationships and bands go so hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not crazy that, you were in a relationship with someone in your band, because people say being in a band is like being in a relationship with 4 or 5 other dudes without the sex. Oh, now this is getting real interesting.
It's a vodka in me. Let's see what happens.
I'm always trying to swat them away, and finally today I'm like, you know what, guys, I give up. Go ahead.
And the thing is, like
Free at last.
me and her were in a relationship before the band. She was in another band called Gates of Ivory, and things didn't work out with that band, and she kind of didn't do anything for like many years. And I was in another band, and I was having just problems with that band, and just ended up like starting something with Tony. And then I was like, you know what, this is fun, this is great, I like where this is going. Ended up leaving that band to pursue Where It Lies. And then I was like, well, hey, like, she isn't doing anything, and I would like to give her something to like look forward to, or try to like
do together.
Yeah, and then give us something to do together. Yeah, so then I asked her and she joined, and then things went great for a while. But aside from the music, then I really had to like anchor down and really think about like where our personal life was going, and it really wasn't going in the direction where I felt like I was gonna be happy. And so, but like I said, everything happens for a reason, and it's for the best. And I feel like it's made the songs that we have now actually. Funny enough, how they say sometimes life imitates art.
Oh, dude, yeah. And
a lot of these songs have new meaning and have actually like resurrected old feelings that I felt when I wrote some of these songs, or even some stuff that he sings in it, where I'm just like, you know what, man, like this song hits harder now than it ever did.
Yeah, and I even recently wrote a line, it's easier to come up lines with a broken heart or something like that.
It very much is.
Like when I was in the best times of my life with this girl, with my best friend, I'd sit in here and be like, what do I want to write about? I guess I'll write about how much I love her. Oh, this is a really cheesy song.
I totally get that, man.
Maybe it's just our genre of like loud guitars. It's like it's gotta have some angst. But dude, I appreciate you like sharing that and being transparent and not worrying about the cameras pointing at you.
I've gone like through this whole stuff. Like I've learned that because I'm a very open guy. And I'll post sometimes, and sometimes I'll post it for a little while and just delete it. But those that have seen it some of them will come to me and message me like, hey, like, you know what, like, I'm going through something very similar. It's nice to see that I'm not the only one, so I appreciate you being so open, because it's kind of like a reminder to me that you're not alone in this, And I mean, normally I'm a lot more open. Like, there's a lot more going on in my head that I would like to say, but I will say that I have been holding back a little bit more than I normally do. I don't know, it's because I feel like, I see myself like, you know what, like, you're an adult now, this isn't very mature to do. But then I also see like, but you're an artist, and sometimes, you have to express yourself, and I can't seem to do it with music right now. Like, it's hard to find the words to say and put them to songs. It's easier to really just say the words and then that's it. Write them down and post, because I need to get them out. But, I'm hoping that with time I'll be able to balance it out and get back to writing and, letting everything out in a healthy manner. But
yeah, that is the healthiest manner, is to do it through art. And I've been like, obviously waking up 3 a.m. stressed, like, how could she? But the first thing I do is head here, and luckily I have a space that I can make noise 24 hours.
Yeah,
because it's been awesome to just come here and let it all out, go back home, and then sleep. And that's really important too, obviously, for your mental health, is to like make sure you're well rested. But in the meantime, I mean, I've been looking at it like, hey, wait a second, 8 years ago we didn't have this social media to like post our feelings away. So I'm not just gonna go ahead and do that. And I guess it's my age, is I kind of remember what it was like to be in high school and not have that outlet. Yeah. My only outlet was, hey guys, I wrote this song. If you can come up with drum parts for it, then we can play it at the show. Yeah. Music was my outlet and my escape. And then before I knew it, I was like over that problem. Yeah. So I would recommend, just like anytime you can't sleep, try and get any sort of dumb melody in your head that resembles anything you're into. As simple as it might be, the simpler the better, is what I've been trying to get myself to realize too. Yeah. And before you know it, you have a verse and a chorus, and you're on to something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been telling Nick in my band the same thing. He's been going through another breakup, and like we've kind of really bonded because of it too, because we had, ironically, the two girls who are in our music video. So we're in a band called Summer Years, and we have this video where these girls are driving around having a great time by the beach, and they're both our exes now. And so in the video, it's hard to watch the video and just see them laughing and smiling. And it was our old merch girl too. They would both kind of do merch for us.
I know that feeling, man, because like I look back at all the band stuff, the posts and pictures and whatnot, and I mean, there she is. I can't delete that.
Can't get rid of that.
I can't get rid of that. And you're learning. I'm learning to live with it. And as time goes by, I'm sure. I mean, time is going to be the only thing that's going to heal anything, really. Yeah. But I got those good memories, and I don't regret anything. If anything, I'm trying to take that and turn it into something positive. But right now, I'm still in that kind of phase where like you're trying to balance everything, and you just don't. You're in limbo constantly with yourself and your emotions and your thoughts, and just But for the most part, though, like I'm glad to have, my music, and I've been working a lot. I've been keeping myself really busy, but that's also another thing too, is that I think I've kept myself so busy that I haven't really had the time to deal with a lot of stuff that I still feel I need to deal with.
For sure.
And today we settled that I got engaged at Stone Brewery.
Okay.
And it was a really memorable part because I love that brewery and the actual owner of Stone Brewery.
Where is that?
In Escondido.
Oh, shout out to Stone Brewery, Esco.
And,
We'll see you in a little bit.
Greg, the owner, he hooked it up, and I was telling them, I went to Venice Beach recently, which was our first date, and I felt like I needed to visit these places where I have great memories, which now got kind of hurtful memories, but go back and create new ones and just kind of like help with the healing process. And he actually mentions like, hey, actually, you know what? How far is Stone Brewery from where we're at? We're gonna go. I was like, you know what? It's not even that far at all. I was like, we gotta go, and I'm just like.
Nice, so you guys are going there after.
We're going
legit.
yeah.
Nice, that sounds fun.
But yeah, man, like I know this is supposed to be a fucking.
I honestly love how vulnerable we're all.
Yeah.
Well, you're at least being vulnerable, but I mean, I think it kind of sets the tone for
It's
everything.
inspiring, man. Inspiring for me personally. I'm sure it will be for other people. Like you said, other people can relate to this shit. And, likewise, I just thought of, right after this, I'm going to see this band, Cashed Out. It's like a reggae band that my ex was obsessed with. So I got her tickets for our 2nd anniversary.
Oh.
And it's tonight. So I have these tickets, and I'm going with my buddy Shay.
Memories, man. That's exactly what we're doing tonight.
Right.
It's part of the healing process, man.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You gotta confront it.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it. It definitely helps, man. And it's a process. It's part of the process.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man, and I'm glad that you're
That's cool.
you got a good head on your shoulders about it, and you got some good friends here.
You're in good company,
I
my
really
friend.
did.
Yeah.
Man, these guys become more than friends. They become family. These
That's
guys
awesome.
are gal,
Yeah.
But
Always part of the guys.
And
That's important. That's the most important. Seriously, that's
Two
good.
brothers and then all guy friends.
and part of our message is stay positive, and that's what ultimately I've been trying to do is just think about what, something good will come from this, despite you're gonna go through a little bit of pain, but the light is bright at the end of the tunnel, and
For sure.
And we tell our fans and at every show is everybody battles their own battle, everybody's got their own fight, and no battle is bigger or smaller than the next, but ultimately, we all have things that we're dealing with, but while you're at our show, you're around people who love you and friends and family and whatnot, and just try to remind everybody that it's going to be all right,
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. A show is the best escape. That's what I'm really looking forward to tonight. I was thinking I'm not even going to go to this show because it's just going to make me think of all the songs she used to blast. But I'm going to be stoked to know the lyrics to those songs.
And you might cry a little bit, man, and that's
Nothing wrong with that.
but
It's gonna be very free.
You need
when you're done.
that. Sometimes you need, and I feel like I still have yet. I mean, I have my moments here and there, but I always catch myself. But I need a day where I'm gonna tell myself, no, you just gotta let it out, and I think that's gonna be a really good drunken night for me.
Yes, sir.
Well,
We'll be there
good.
to carry
They're
you.
drinking too.
Yes, sir. I'll be there with you to carry you back to the car.
Who's DD? Jackie, you DD tonight?
I suppose so.
Okay. Tony.
Triple D. Designated drunk driver.
Oh, we might have to cut that out.
Don't drink and drive.
Don't do
kids.
it.
He's just kidding.
Once you're good at
He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good.
I promise. I'll be fine.
On a more simple, lighthearted, generic note,
This could be edited out, right? Like this whole last 30 minutes.
no, this is the goal. This is the goal. But I did want to ask because I've been coming up with a lot of great band names that are off of golf because I've been golfing a lot.
Oh, dude.
Is that where you guys got your name from? Where it lies? Because you got to play the ball where it lies.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't even think about that.
You know what?
I thought it was a golf reference.
It was.
Golf is pretty fun.
I love golf. I just actually recently started getting into it thanks to my friend Connor. Shout out to Connor.
Conrad.
But no, actually, the name was created a long time ago. Actually, me and my brother started Where It Lies in 2013, and then shortly after joined the Mendenhall Experiment. And so this project was on hold for a long time until, you know, things happened with my previous band, and then I decided to go back to it. But before, the name didn't really have a meaning, to be honest. It was just like, we need to come up with a name because we wrote some songs. We need someone to put it out, a name to put it out with, you know?
Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
And so we're like, oh, well, this sounds cool, and just kind of started playing with words, and I came up with Where It Lies. But to be honest, recently, what Where It Lies is, what it means to me is kind of like with all the stuff that I'm going through is just like, you know what? You just gotta, like you said, you gotta play where it lies. It is what it is. Go from here. Mm-hmm. You know? And, you know, that's kind of the meaning it's given me. And honestly, I think that's the meaning, or that's something that everybody can really relate to, is like...
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, with the golf reference, it kind of makes sense because life's going to give you some bad bounces.
Yeah.
But you just got to play where it lies.
It's like, you might have landed like far from the green, but you just got to keep going.
Yeah, my favorite one has been Back Nine Mully. I would never call my project that, but anytime I hit like a bad shot on the back nine, I'm like, I already took a mulligan, but this is the Back Nine Mully. Oh, that's a great dad band name.
That's actually pretty great.
I've gone like to the driving range and whatnot and done a little like Where It Lies post and shit. But.
All right, nice. Well, I like the name. I like what it stands for, and it's easy to remember, which is great for someone like me doing podcasts, having a new artist on every week. And the new single comes out this Friday, so by the time this comes out, it'll be like a week since it's been out.
Yep.
What's the song called again? I just heard it today 2 times.
Say the Word.
Say the Word. That's right.
Yeah.
It's a catchy tune. I would say it's for fans of Don't Hate Me, Breaking Benjamin.
I'll take it.
Okay.
It's like one of their best.
Nice. Yeah, it's got like that hard radio rock sound with
definitely.
catchy hooks and some aggressive screaming.
Nice.
So
I'm glad I didn't make yours
I'm a big Breaking Benjamin Disturbed fan.
okay,
so,
sweet.
Like,
Yeah.
And you want to tell them what the song's about?
Yeah.
Tell you.
So Say the Word is mostly about it growing up in high school. You know, we all have been through some sort of, I guess, beratement from other people. We worry about what other people say about us. Or at least I did. I don't know if anyone else out there.
I think everybody
At some point, everyone really
at
does
some
care
point of the
about-
day, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of other people kind of care about what people say about each other, and that kind of ties into what social media is about nowadays too, because they care so much about what they look like, about what they sound like, how they appear to people. But to me, I really cared a lot about what a lot of people said about me, and I was made fun of a lot going through middle school, and then like a little bit through high school too. But towards the end, I kind of just stopped caring, and I had kind of a dark point in my life where I cared so much about what so many people I didn't even know, said about me, and I caught myself wishing I was someone else. And like I remember like kind of holding myself in my room one night and having a really bad, really hard time. Wishing I was someone else and not really looking at what I had to offer the world. And nowadays, looking back on that time now, I'm just like, why did I care so much?
Totally, as you get older and mature.
Yeah, and a lot of it was like I was immature, but then I was comparing myself a lot to so many other people around me. It's like, why can't I be so much like him? Why can't I be like that? Why don't I look like that? Why aren't I as strong as he, A, B, and C, you know? Mm-hmm. And so now I look at myself now, I feel like I'm in, the best point of my life right now. I feel like I have... it's hard sometimes to really kind of take into account how much I have going for me now. And I used to be very hypercritical of myself, but I let a lot of people kind of get under my skin. One of the lines is reach under my skin, take this violence, you're paid in blood. Some of that can be kind of like, I guess, it's a little violent, but I kind of let it stir me into being the best version of myself. And now whenever I'm up on stage or when I can look at myself now, I feel like I'm a much more stronger version of who I used to be. And honestly, it took that low point in my life to really appreciate where I'm at now, because if I hadn't been put in that low part of my life, I wouldn't have worked as hard to get to where I'm at now.
And the pain, you hear it. You hear that pain in your voice, and I love that. I like when you really hear the expression from that person's life experiences. And that's something that you can appreciate now, I listen back to my vocal takes when I was 16, 15 and thought I was experiencing pain, and then went through all the tough times of being in a band and losing best friends and getting kicked off shows at 6 a.m. day of.
Yeah.
And hear the growl in my voice now. And it's like, that's where it comes from. And you hear it from some of the greatest artists that, that comes with aging.
Yeah.
But
that sort of blood builds character. You kind of need that up and down.
perfect timing. Nice. Yeah, no, we've been talking about this whole deep podcast here. They're not usually this deep. Yeah, for real. I just met three of you, and I'm like, wow, this is a good hang.
Yeah, man.
So I appreciate it. And I've never really hung with Tim like this. It's just been at the show trying to yell over the band after me.
Oh, you were great, man.
So have you guys been playing shows yet?
Yeah, we've been busy for the last few months. I mean, we
just played on Friday night.
Nice.
This past Friday night.
Can't say it went well, but we did it.
We did it, yeah.
Why not many people showed up, or where was it?
We was over at the Tiki Bar over in Costa Mesa.
Yep.
And no, there was a good crowd. We've had pretty solid crowds. So we've our little scene. We've really kind of established it and
kind of cultivated a bit of a family.
Yeah, we've got a good how many bands? 5-6 bands that we all show up to each other's shows and support each other.
Nice.
And we're on a lot of these same bills, and we're traveling all over. And we all go through we have the same guy that does all our music videos.
Oh, really?
Does all that stuff for us, because all references this guy put the reference there. And then our engineer, which is Brett Berry, he does mixes and produces all of our music.
I was gonna say it's a great production, great mix.
Yeah. And he's always been there.
Since we're also dropping names real quick, I want to drop Jonatella out there, a little shout out.
Jonatella.
He's done a lot of music videos for some of our family artists.
Do you guys have a video coming out for this single?
No, we haven't really decided what's going to be the next single with the music video, but for this one, I think we're just going to keep it pretty simple. Probably maybe make a lyric video or something like that. Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, maybe later on we might just decide if one of us come up with a great idea and be like, it'd be really cool.
Then you hit him up.
To it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He did your last video? What was that?
Woven Web?
Woven Web?
Woven Web, yeah.
Woven Web.
It's our,
I don't know why I can't say that.
It's a ballad type song that we wrote. One day I was just driving home and we're like, because we had a total different idea of what we wanted, what we were going to do for that song. And then we were like, man, it's going to take a lot of time and multiple days and this and that. And I was like, well, man, it's just, and then, I don't know, just, we couldn't find a really good storyline and just it was just turning into a headache. And then I was driving home from work and I was just like, I don't know what, it just popped into my head that those silk dancers, how they're intertwining those
like the ribbons.
Those
aerial dancers.
They're suspended.
Oh yeah. It's like a gymnastics thing.
Yeah, and I was like, and when I was thinking, I was like, yeah, it kind of looks like they're kind of like weaving themselves through this these things.
Smart.
And I was like, that'd be cool if we could interpret someone that's doing that into our music video, and then we could just be performing and be cutting back and forth. So
or you called me. I remember that now. You called me up.
I shot the idea over to everybody, and they were like, yeah, actually, that'd be cool. And I have a friend, her name's Ariel, another wonderful, talented artist. I hit her up because she does stuff like that, and she's like, oh, you know what? I got someone that I'm going to get you in contact with someone that can hook you up. And sure enough, she did. We recorded that at a place called Jaga. Jagosaurus Studio or something like that. And,
I have no idea. I was
Like,
there for
A place where they
I
have
wasn't
that set up for.
yeah, it was in Santa Monica. I want to make sure I get the name shout out, but
That's a good idea. I got to check that video out now.
yeah, it was,
Yeah,
That's like-
yeah.
We had like,
That's
a whole,
unique.
like, release party and everything. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
nice.
it actually ended up being better than I expected it. It's called Jagged Vertical Dance Fitness in Santa Monica.
And you just like rented it out for a few hours?
Yes, I got a hold with the owner, and then she introduced us to Mina, who was the aerial dancer, and talented, very professional. We got those takes, and then we went to another studio that we did a performance take there.
It's Tiger Lab Studios, right?
No, not Tiger. No, that's Tiger Lab's my other friend's studio. No,
It was the Mortis Viventi.
Yeah, well, but what is the actual studio called? No, I gotta
Good
look
job,
that up.
guys.
So that's where you guys did the live performance
performance,
footage.
And then John did his magic to it, and it came out really
great.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But no, yeah, it was cool. It was but like again, that just came out of nowhere. So if something were to come, like an idea for this song, then I mean, we'll probably jump on it if the time is right. But I think we've been so busy. I'm so busy doing 2 bands too that even finding free time has been tough.
I think
Yeah.
also because we're kind of in like this weird kind of limbo right now, kind of like unsure of like where like where's our bassist kind of idea too. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we're
That
trying.
makes it difficult to do a video.
Just
Yeah,
get
we're
Buddy
trying.
from 40 minutes away. That's been filling in for you guys in the video.
Once we can solidify that, you know, like we're trying to wait and see, like what's the field going to look like after this next show we have next Friday at Rockefeller's in Corona, which is going to be like our single release
Party.
Yeah, we're gonna drop it that day, and then we'll have a talk, and we'll see how things go. And then once we go over that hill, you know, that's when we can probably start. Like, all right, what's the next move? Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you also don't even need to have performance in the video. A lot of bands are just like shooting videos on their iPhones.
Yeah.
And
We did that for Journey Home.
That's what we did during
some of them turn out better than others, but if you have someone who really knows how to edit it together and you get like a unique idea, I mean, look at the reference everybody uses, OK Go. They did the treadmill
the
video,
treadmill
right?
video, exactly.
And then they had all these other ideas
Yeah.
that probably costed more than that, but that was their biggest
That was
video.
it was huge.
Right?
I remember that came out. Yeah.
You could think of an idea like that and just shoot it.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to like figure out as a band too, is like we obviously want to get our social media handles looking good, our online presence. Everyone's on TikTok now, and it's like, I know it annoys the crap out of me, but hey, if people are gonna check out our band on it, what can we offer on that platform? Is what we're trying to wrap our heads around, and like, okay, well, individually, what can we offer on that? On our page, maybe we can have our own thing and deliver it in a unique way so that people are like, oh, I like watching this member of Summer Years because he always does this. So we're kind of like figuring out our own identity to go with that platform, and then like something like YouTube is more of a collective. We got 8 minutes to talk about who Summer Years is, or you know, obviously music videos where we're all in it. So yeah, it's tough. It goes back to your point about you're always worried about what people are thinking of you too.
Yeah.
Because that's always the thing that stops everybody from making decisions and just and hawing. It's like, yeah, but are people...
You're trying to impress people.
Yeah, or are they going to think this? Are they going to get the wrong idea of this? There's so much of that too. There's so many bands that had to hit stop on a lot of ideas because they maybe came across as offensive or it was too soon. For example, like POD's Boom video, that's not even that recent, but it was originally like had a bunch of explosions and footage of war, and then they were supposed to release it on 9/11 when everything happened, and they were like, we can't release this, so they shot that ping pong video, which is one of my favorite videos of all time. I don't know if you've seen the video from Boom.
I have, but a long time ago.
It's a ping pong competition, and it's so amazing.
I remember. I think when parts all slowed down.
Slow-mo, and they're like, and he like dives for that last shot. Is that all you got? It's so good.
Boom. So they
goodness.
just lined it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's
A lot
just
of it.
all through. It's a creative idea that like the band didn't even need to be in that video. And then Blink-182, of course, their Stay Together for the Kids had like a wrecking ball breaking a building and stuff, and they filmed, as they were filming that, 9/11 happened. And they were like, oh shoot, we're gonna have to like re-edit this video in a way that looks just more like a sad broken home, without the wrecking ball. But then they ended up releasing both anyway. Whereas if you go further back in history, the Beatles, I just learned this today. Hey Jude, they got in a lot of trouble because in Germany, which is where they started, they were playing Berlin bars for like 8-hour sets.
Oh, wow.
Jude means Jew. So everyone was like, why would you write a song called Hey Jew for your biggest country?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But back then it was just like, oh, it's just a misunderstanding. Hey Jude, we didn't mean it that way. It's just about a girl.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, okay, fair enough. They didn't mean it. Nowadays you can't get away with
Right
it.
at the stake.
Canceled forever. The Beatles would have never been the Beatles after that song in 2021.
Yeah.
So,
Well, even after that remark where, who was it? John Lennon, where he said, I think we're more popular than
Bigger than
Jesus or
Jesus,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. They got a lot of hate from the Christian community, and that's when like Christianity ran the country. So yeah, but you know, they still survived through that. Nowadays,
Words go a long way, man. Yeah, they really do.
It's dangerous out there.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah,
You gotta be
and
careful.
Everything's caught, like, either on, like, it's recorded pretty much. So, you know, it's like
So
Right.
things that you said years
you can't
ago,
undo it,
decades
yeah.
ago, it'll come back to haunt you, you know?
Right.
Thank God we're not politicians.
But we're close, man. Being in a band, you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I know so many bands across the country that are just getting canceled by an ex-girlfriend because that ex-girlfriend just doesn't want to see them succeed. Like, I've seen some really dark stuff from something that, they might have said or posted and twisted to be misinterpreted because of, you know, how short and to the point it might have been.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even gotten the hammer from some markets for just saying things like, you know, hey, everyone, like, stay cool when all these riots were going on. I can't even remember which riot it was, but it was like, everyone, you know, focus on art, like, try and get away from the computer and the TV for the next couple months. No one liked that. And I was like, because like the president said a similar thing. And I'm like, oh shit, no. I'm just saying, like, everyone, you know, stay on your purpose, you know? But it was really hard to crawl out of that hole. And everyone was like, oh you fucked up. And I'm like, all right, honestly, so at this point, I just play the card of, you gotta just not care what people think.
Yeah.
You gotta know that you're
real.
a genuine good person and stay in your lane, stay on your path, and not worry about what people think. Whether it's content you're releasing, posts that you post up on your story or whatever. If you feel like, hey, you know what, I meant well when I did that thing, and I don't care what anybody's gonna think, then those angry people that are trying to bring you down will quickly dissipate, and that is what star power really is like, not really giving a fuck what people think. If you look at the Lady Gagas and all the huge stars that are you know, stick around for more than one album, they just really don't care what people think. Even someone as like kind of insecure as Taylor Swift at some point has a team that tells her and coaches her to realize that, you know, you can't give a fuck. You got to just, you know, be who you authentically are, and not worry what this post or idea is going to make people think. It's just really hard for us smaller bands to do this, to think that way. I have a lot of like bands our size on this show, and a lot of times off camera especially, they tell me what they're going through, and I'm just like, yeah, you kind of have to be perfect at this stage because everyone's going to be trying to bring you down, especially in your local scene. But at the same time, you got to realize that you're a good, genuine person, and you're going to make mistakes. But as long as you know that you meant well, you can get through anything, like we were talking about, and that pain is going to show too. A lot of the pain that I've gone through, just from, for instance, I was collecting emails at a show, and someone told me, like, you should go around and collect emails from everyone. So I started doing that for a couple weeks. Everyone at the show, local bands, friends. Hey, if you want to find out about more shows from my band and your friend's band, get on the email list, and then you won't, miss a show. And people were pretty cool about it. Sometimes they'd write fake emails or whatever. But a few people started writing their phone numbers. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything about that, but their phone number's in there. This is an email list, and social media was on there too. But then one show in Seattle, a promoter, the next time I came through, was like, no, we heard that you were getting underage girls' phone numbers at the show. I was like, oh, it was because of the email list. People started writing their phone numbers, and someone probably said, this dude came up to me and asked for my phone number on this page.
Yeah.
And or like the band said, what is he doing getting those underage girls' phone numbers? So I had to stop, leave that email list on the table. But I also had to look myself in the mirror and say, I meant well. I was just trying to solve my biggest issue, getting people out to shows and getting people aware of shows.
Yeah.
So that's a good example for that. Whereas, I'm sure the Beatles didn't have to deal with that.
Sometimes the way I look at things is like, I feel that people always try to, or a lot of people, they look at you, or they almost see every situation in a bad, like, they already come at the bat thinking negative thoughts, man, like negative opinions about you without even knowing you or this and that, and you just gotta, like you said, not give a fuck, and like, I know what I'm doing, I know I mean well, and I'm not the one with the problem when you're the one thinking like that. You're the one that has the issues. And
it's true.
So
say what you gotta say, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna feel bad because I know ultimately you're the one that's kind of
the problem.
That's a good point. I think a lot of people are afraid to even say that, but it's true. It's like, you're the one with the sickness who's trying to bring someone innocent down.
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of ironic that those are the people that are trying to ruin someone who's just trying to do the scene a favor, for instance.
And it's even like where you're not even thinking that way. Like, your mind's not in the gutter, like, you're not, you mean well, you're just trying to succeed, and then this person is thinking this, like, crazy
super
thing, and you're
thing.
like, oh my god, I didn't even know that would come across that
it's
way.
like,
It's crazy.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's because they've been through something,
right?
And so that's
you only
kind
see
of
the worst in people.
and then that's fucked up, and that's one of, in a way, that's kind of what we're trying to do, is fight those kind of negative mentalities. Is like, don't, like, you might see us, we're in all black and we curse and we party and all this shit, and so people might get the wrong impression of us, but we're actually good, genuine people that just love everybody and want everybody to love each other and get along, but you're not going to think that until you actually get to know us, and we're trying to break that stigma of, like, just because we may look a certain way or even sometimes act a certain way doesn't mean we are that way. And if you don't care to take the time to get to know us, well, that's your loss.
That's the way to look at it. Yeah.
Because, I mean,
100%.
Yeah, you be who you are, and unless you're an asshole, don't be an asshole.
Right.
But, yeah, man, it's a matter of just being yourself and being the best version of you, and don't let anybody stop you from that. Because, I mean, sometimes it does happen, and we get into a weird mindset, and you got to break that, and you just got to remind yourself, you know what? Nah, I'm not the problem. I'm not the one with the problem here.
Yeah. You got to be unapologetically yourself, from how you dress to what you say, and it's really tough sometimes, but I mean, I've gotten to know you guys in the last 45 minutes, and I know that you guys are good people. I mean, I've got a good radar if people are good, or if they've got something going on, or they just maybe don't like me for some reason, but
it's funny that you said, like, go back to a couple lines that you said earlier, be yourself unapologetically, and I just posted something about that recently. It was like, it's a picture of me giving the finger and just saying be yourself unapologetically, like, and a lot of people really liked that and actually got messages for that, and I think people are afraid to be themselves because I don't know if they've experienced something where someone tried to like attack them for something they said or thought or blah blah, and maybe they didn't even mean it anywhere like that, but just because they got negative reaction from it. Listen, you're gonna have two kinds of people. You're gonna have people that are gonna talk shit and this and that and get the wrong idea of who you might be, and it's gonna hurt. But you're also gonna get the people that are like, yeah, you're right, like this is cool, like, you know, I thank you for that. And for me, hearing that overweighs all the bullshit,
negative,
you know. But there's some people that unfortunately you can have all that, but it just takes one or two people that give you that little negative thing, and then you just break down, and it's something you kind of have to work. What's the word? Work on, I guess, that not to let those two people ruin, you know, who you are.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes those one or two people are going to build up a whole army of kind, genuine people who are going to believe their side too. Mm-hmm. But you just have to realize that eventually that army is going to fight themselves and fight amongst themselves and crumble.
Yeah,
whereas if you ignore them and you stay with the people who get you and know that you're a good person, you're gonna come out on top always. And it's harder to believe that now than ever with the way that like the internet is. But I mean, that's kind of where this community that I'm building is kind of taking me to, is like I'm meeting a lot of artists that are willing to kind of talk about this stuff. And I think there's a light at the end of this tunnel too, that people are eventually going to be careful as to who they cancel or who they try and build an army against. Yeah. Because ultimately, especially musicians, we're just trying to get our music out there, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Like, people might think otherwise, but I know that's what you guys are after, because you would have quit a long time ago if it wasn't about the music, right? There's so much bullshit we have to deal with aside from all that.
For Say the Word, the idea behind that song, like going back to what Mike was saying, you know, kind of being unapologetically you. That's what Say the Word was kind of combating, was we used to take into account what a lot of people would say about us, and we would let that define us. We'd let that image that they painted be who we are, and that's not true. Because now who we are, like, you know what, I don't care what you have to say. You're going to say what you're going to say at the end of the day. There might as well have been a gun in my hand, or there might not have been. And I am going to continue to be who I am, regardless. Yeah. And I think it's important because I really only care about, you know, being who I am and being happy with myself.
Right.
And that's what's important, I think, mostly.
Yeah, and that's what being in a band is supposed to be about. That's why we started these bands, right? Is to be happy. And I mean, you don't get paid to show up at band practice yet. So you're doing it because you love it and it's happy, and because you have a vision and a goal.
Yeah. You can't take what everyone says about you you can't take it to heart. Otherwise, you're going to let them change who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think everybody has a little bit, you know. Everyone has... Sometimes you change for the better from it, too. But ultimately, you got to just find it within yourself to be like, all right, I'm going to be myself with this. I'm going to be this improved version of myself because of what happened or because of what these people are saying. But ultimately, sometimes you got to go against the grain.
Yeah.
So,
and it makes people very uncomfortable, and maybe that's why they don't speak up or even advocate for themselves. Yeah. But at the same time, you kind of have to put yourself out there to really realize, you know what, this isn't so bad. It's uncomfortable, but that's what change is all about. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what makes you stronger in the end.
Definitely. Yeah. It comes back to hearing the pain in your voice when you're uncomfortable, and people can relate to hearing that that pain from being uncomfortable. And everything that makes you stronger is uncomfortable. Working out is uncomfortable.
So no pain, no gain. Man.
Yeah.
You gotta go through some pain in order to, you know.
Sometimes being in the studio for 10 hours, it's only fun for the first 2. The rest is painful. Yeah. But that's how you get some of the best stuff. If it was a fun 10 hours, you might just scrap all of it at the end of it.
And honestly, there's something so gratifying about proving everyone wrong that you're never going to amount to anything. Yeah. Like, dude, if you don't have the motivation, or like, man, you know what, you can't even even do this. There's no way you're going to ever amount to anything. All right, well, you know what? It took some time. It took, me sobbing to myself, a couple hours at the end of the day. But you know what? Here I am putting myself out there, being in a place I never thought I'd be, doing stuff I never thought I was capable of doing. And it took me being uncomfortable. It took me putting myself out there. And, I could fall flat on my face right now. But apparently we're doing something right. Yeah. And people like what we have to say. People like what we've put out there so far. And wow, you know what? 10 years ago, if you would have told me you're gonna be on stage, you're gonna be in a band, here and doing all of these things, I would have told you, dude, there's no way I could do that. I used to think so little of myself just because I let what other people said about me, define who I was. And nowadays, I'm like, you know what? It sucked I felt that way, but I needed that because I don't take into account what anyone has to say about me. You can say whatever you want about me. Sure, that's fine. You're going to believe what you want. But you know what? It's going to be so much better when I get to prove you wrong. Success is the best kind of revenge.
And I think that's shining through, too, because it looks like you guys have a good little following building up. Mm-hmm. Just looking at everyone watching that live stream, that was very DIY.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what comes from this new release and everything down the pipeline.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still learning, because it is
Constantly.
very DIY.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's
struggles. But
there's struggle, and there's more that we can do and all that. But everybody has their own personal lives, and we're all trying to balance everything. So for what we have been doing, I feel like it's been all right. Something seems to be working, and so we continue to try to do the same thing, but also try to make improvements here and there.
Yeah, it's nice that everything is more DIY than ever because the budgets in the music industry have gone so far down with streaming and everything that we're forced to learn how to edit videos and shoot videos on our iPhones and just make it work for a very low budget. And to your point, Tony, of 10 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to do all this stuff. 10 years ago, I didn't think I would even have to do all this stuff, make my own videos, make my own podcast. That, and back to the point of sometimes people are going to tell you things that you might dismiss and say, I gotta do me and focus on me, ignore that. But oftentimes I'll look back and be like, hey, that thing that someone told me at that show 5 years ago, I actually am implementing that criticism into my show now, and
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, so sometimes that asshole at the show who tells you, don't turn your back to the crowd or whatever.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it might take you a couple years to realize they were right.
See what you gotta
filter through it.
Yeah.
What you gotta do is you gotta find your friend that is an asshole that's gonna tell you how it is, whatever opinions they have, whether it's gonna hurt your feelings or not, because they know or they feel it's gonna help you, rather than you're not helping anybody by giving them what they want to hear. You're not going to grow. They're not going to grow that way. So I have a friend of mine, Jeff. Shout out to you, brother. He'll tell me. He'll just be blunt with me. And it's I'm not telling you this because I don't because I'm trying to hurt your feelings and all that.
So he's not an asshole, but he will tell you how it is.
But yeah. And some people think because he's that way, he's being an asshole. No. If anything, I love this guy because he is that way.
Yeah.
He's not going to sugarcoat shit.
Exactly.
Right.
And I've actually learned a little bit from him to be maybe not so blunt, but to be straightforward with people, whether it's going to hurt their feelings or not. I'm very opinionated. I'll give you my opinion. You might not like it always, but I mean, if you respect my opinion, here it is. If you don't, well, then take it for a grain of salt and just keep walking, keep doing what you're doing.
And it might trickle into their ears 2-3 years from now, like I said too. So I think that's a really good point to maybe leave off on for people. Is we're not saying don't listen to anybody ever. Try and improve yourself from what people say, but
cautiously embrace it.
Yeah.
Be the assholes,
realize when it's constructive criticism from a friend and it's envious from someone who's toxic, basically. Is kind of the balance, and I think it is kind of in line with what your guys' single is about. So,
and sometimes even if your friend's the one saying this, and you still feel in your heart, I feel like it's right though. I know where you're coming from, but this feels right to me. Then go with it. Go with it. If it feels right to you, go with it.
Especially in music and art in general, it's so subjective, right? It's not like building a car.
Exactly.
There's things.
no wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
There's no right way to do it either.
I mean, I every band I listen to, especially being a sound engineer and producer, I'm like, I would have done this differently. I would have done that differently.
Yeah.
But like, I just try to push all that aside and say, well, who is this band trying to be, or who are they? You know, and like, I feel like you guys are like really finding your sound and have found this thing that you've grabbed from other influences and also created from your own life experiences, and I'm really stoked on it. So
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, sorry, what's the single called again?
Say the word.
Say the word. Let's put it out there one more time. Say the word. Comes out July 30th, 2021.
Yep.
It'll
Congrats.
be on all live streaming services, and if you want to get a download from it, email us at whereitliescontact@gmail.com, or go to our website at whereitliesmusic.com. Shoot us an email, and we love giving our music away.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll put that in the description as well. Where It Lies Music whereitliesmusic.com.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the
Yeah.
website.
Where
You want to
It
get
Lies
people to go to your actual
Yeah.
website because you pay for that thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, right on. Where It Lies. Thank you guys so much for coming up.
Thanks for having
Coming down.
us.
so much for having us, man. It's been great.
It's been great. Yeah.
My pleasure. That's a wrap. Episode 38, State of My Art Podcast. All right, woo, another one down. Thank you so much for checking out this episode. Man, that one got a little steamy. Look at me, wearing the same shirt as I wore on the podcast episode. This hole's getting gnarly. I swear I have other clothes. And of course, a big thanks to Vocalese for hooking up the most amazing throat spray on the planet. If you haven't tried this stuff, you could get your very own bottle by going to this link beside my head. I'll drop it in the description as well, where you can get 15% off all your Vocalese products. If you haven't tried them yet, they have these amazing ginger cayenne pepper throat drops that will really warm up your voice and allow you to project and sing with freedom. Thanks to Where It Lies and Jackie for coming down here to Oceanside to be on the podcast. Thank you for checking out this episode of State of My Art Podcast. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, share it. All that stuff really helps, and it'll help you see more episodes like this one. So until next week, we'll see you back here for another episode of State of My Art Podcast.